Welcome to episode one of Sacramento's Behind the Business. And today it's my honor to introduce and talk to Mark Guayco. I know that name's a little bit challenging for me. Sorry about that, Mark, if I butcher it. But Mark is a very interesting person, and he's going to share a story about himself, which I think is important for our community because his story has a lot of coincidence with other people who are in the Sacramento community, people who are helping save lives in Sacramento and make Sacramento a better place. The name of this podcast is Behind the Business, so we don't just want to learn about what the organization is that he's a part of and what he's doing professionally, but we want to learn a lot about him too. Why don't we start out by getting to know you a little bit better?
First, Max, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be part of your first ever episode in this program. It's an honor. Currently, I am the president of the Emergency Nurses Association Sacramento chapter. This ENA is the leading organization that represents emergency nursing professionals. We are not just here in the country, but we are present in different parts of the world. Represents not just the emergency nurses, but also our patients.
Let me just ask you a question. Was this something you've been a part of since before you moved to Sacramento? Or have you been a part of this just since you moved to Sacramento?
Thank you for asking that. The history of me being part of the ENA goes back because I'm originally from Guam. Well, I'm Filipino. Recently moved here in Sacramento. And prior to moving out of the island, I've been the emergency nurse manager also in our only public hospital on the island.
That's in Guam?
That's in Guam.
How long were you practicing in Guam?
10 years.
When you say you're from Guam, does that mean you were born there or does that mean you were working there after you were an adult?
So, born and raised in the Philippines, in Manila, came a nurse in 2006, and my wife made Guam my home, I think 2010, 2011. That's why we moved to Guam. But I was also an emergency nurse in the Philippines before I moved to the island.
One thing I think I learned about, correct me if I'm wrong, is it true that when you get a nursing degree in Manila, it's a similar type of training as one might experience here in the United States, or is it a little bit different?
Of course, U.S. And the Philippines has very strong historical connection. So when it comes to nursing, you asked if our nursing program or education is very similar. Yes, there is, because there is a very strong historical connection. And this goes way back from before the First World War, which I should say that during the time the Philippines under U.S. colony, they have helped build different schools, some of the nursing programs in different universities in the Philippines.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Mark. I think it's good for us to become more educated about the world and world history, even though we're here in Sacramento. So really a wonderful international place. And I think if people are genuinely interested in other cultures and other people here in Sacramento. But more importantly, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your story. Did you always dream of the time that you were a little boy? Were you thinking about being a nurse, or how did that end up coming about?
As you may have heard with this very popular comedian, Joe Coy,
Filipino moms predetermine what their kids are supposed to be when they grow up. There's a lot of Filipinos in here right now that are nurses.
the stereotype of Filipinos is that if you're a Filipino, you are born in a family where you have a brother or auntie or uncle who's a nurse, right? Back in the Philippines, when I was young, I was always reminded that the nursing profession will actually help you become rich. I mean,
Okay.
there you go.
I think
So,
I've heard here in the United States you say become a doctor to be rich. But in the Philippines there you
correct.
become a nurse to become rich?
Because historically, when I was a kid, I would always have a family friend or a neighbor who became a nurse and migrated to the States.
I'm just going to ask you kind of a silly question. Here in America, a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor to get rich." And in the Philippines, let's say you want to come here and work, and a lot of people probably do become citizens here and end up retiring here. But I think there's another option too. People could go back to the Philippines and retire there also. I'm seeing nowadays $2 million might be enough to retire and the United States and be pretty darn comfortable if you're careful with your money. How much do you think it would cost to retire in the Philippines? Do you guys know how much it would cost to be able to live a somewhat worry-free life there?
Wow. I mean, I think, of course, the cost of living is way different, but talking about retirement life, I'm telling you, like your $2,000 or your $3,000 a month would probably give you a very, very comfortable life in the Philippines. Like, considering if you probably try to live outside further away from Manila or the city centers, definitely.
Okay, so maybe if worse comes to worse, I can think about retiring in the Philippines if I feel like I'm going to come up short here. Is it possible for an American to live in the
Yes.
Philippines?
Definitely, you can. The only thing you cannot buy would be land. But I know some of my personal friends who build business there during their retirement life. They bought condominiums and, having your own driver, having your own personal assistants, or we call them our yayas or household helps. It's a different lifestyle. It's very comfortable lifestyle. If ever one would decide to retire there. I've known a lot of nurses decided to retire in the Philippines, a very comfortable life. Of course, you had to be very smart with your salary, how you invest and how you save during your working years here in the States.
Yeah, I've had a few friends, and it seems like the professional people that were born in the Philippines who come here, it's kind of 50-50. About half of them want to stay here, and about half of them decide that they might want to go back.
Yes, my wife and I actually have had a conversation a few days ago, and we are actually inclining of probably staying here and going to the Philippines probably would be, spending vacation um because of our kids. I mean, we're still young.
Yeah, how many kids do you guys have?
We have three. We started early, so I have an 18 years old
What?
firstborn. Yes.
Wow, how'd that happen? You look
Yeah.
you look like you're about 35, maybe tops.
Yes. So I'm 39.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Spoiler alert.
yes, 39. But
Okay, so
Asian
21.
genes.
A long time ago, like back in the 70s or 80s here in America, that would have been like a normal age to have kids.
Yes.
And
Yes, but it
I think it is a good age if you want to actually have healthy kids. I think it's a little bit better to have them younger.
yes, my second is 11 and my youngest is 4.
Hey, that's like, what do you say, 14 years difference, eh?
Yes, like every 7 years we have a newborn. So,
Ah, so you got the 7-year itch to have kids.
yes.
That's
And
good.
and
That's
that's
good.
it. That's it. We're okay with 3.
Yeah, three's perfect. That's really good. Wow. Okay. I'm happy to hear that, Mark. That's great news. You first became a nurse in the Philippines and then you went to Guam. Now, why on earth would you go from being happy in the Philippines to traveling into somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, Guam?
Guam is like 3.5 hours flight away from the Philippines, 4 hours away from Japan, and we're 8 hours away from Hawaii.
My mom actually lived in Guam for a year. Said it's very humid there.
Very humid, tropical island. So my wife, her family is from the Philippines, but they migrated to the island of Guam. So we decided that we were going to have our family together. She made Guam my home.
Ah, so your wife's kind of in charge of you once you got married. Okay, I got you. No, no,
Yes.
that's okay. They say happy spouse, happy house.
Happy wife, happy life.
Oh, okay, you're gonna go that far.
Right?
Okay, all right. I was looking for something a little bit more fair and balanced, but yeah, we'll go with that. Let me ask you a question now. Once you got to Guam, but you did stay there for about 10 years, right?
Yes.
What inspired you to go from Guam to the United States? Was there anything that you liked in Guam that was hard to leave, and anything that made you feel like the United States might be a better option?
As a U.S. territory, 2 of my kids were born there. They're all U.S. citizens. Guam actually have given like 10 years. It's like a lifetime, right? So it has given me the opportunity to become the emergency nurse that I am right now in the island of Guam. Very small community. What I love is, of course, it's very close to homeland, the Philippines. At one point, we had an airline there that only cost $60 one way going back to the Philippines. So it was fun. We were able to go back home like probably 3 times in a year. is we have a very similar culture with the Philippines. They were also under the Spanish rule for about 250 to 300 years.
Let me ask you a question. If you saw somebody from Guam, can you tell the difference just by physical appearance between a Philippine person and a local islander?
Because I live there, yes, I can, but we have very similar physical features.
Okay, I didn't know that. Well, Philippines are good-looking people. I think you got international genes from all over the world, right? So you get the best of everything.
Yes, I mean, we have the Asian, the Chinese influence, the Spanish influence. So pretty much also in the Philippines, we are very diverse in itself as a country. Our physical feature were also unique in a way. But the Chamorro people, very similar features, skin color, and because of the geographical location of the island, I guess. What I love about the Chamorro people, they have this what we call the half a day spirit. If you've been to Guam, you will see people or see signs that will say half a day. It's like aloha in Guam, right? But the half a day spirit is really embracing one's culture, very welcoming, very family oriented.
Let me jump forward here a little bit because we just have a few more minutes. What brought you to Sacramento? Yeah, did you come directly from Guam to Sacramento, or was this a roundabout?
So we decided during COVID that we wanted to give better opportunities for the kids. And that means options for our children to have better education. Because as you know, in the island, it's very limited when it comes to public education. We had to pay private school when we were there. And for university and college choices, also very limited. And that's one of the main reasons why we decided to look and see if there's opportunity in the mainland or here in the States. And of course, Filipinos are everywhere. You have cousins everywhere. And then when they find out that we were very interested in moving to the States, and we found out that my wife actually has about almost 10 cousins here in Sacramento area.
Well, that's pretty fascinating. And so you're finding that it's kind of like at home here, is people that you feel comfortable with, you're liking the community. Is that what I'm hearing?
Very much, because just like in Guam, we have a lot of families here in Sacramento area. The city is not that big, but where I live in Rancho, so we can go to the Bay Area if you want to. We can go up to the hills and enjoy Lake Tahoe, and that's a very good lifestyle, especially the kids because they have cousins very similar age. They are enjoying Sacramento.
In need and they're getting emergency medical care and they think that they might have you as their nurse practitioner. Do you actually work and help people at any of the local hospitals here?
Yes, I do work as an emergency. Well, right now I am a nurse manager in one of the local hospitals here in Sacramento. But if they do see me in one of the emergency departments here, just feel free to approach. But I am an emergency nurse here in Sacramento.
Now, this is something you've been working on, Filipino nurses, the backbone of America's healthcare system.
This website that you are looking is my personal blog that I have maintained since for about probably I could say almost 10 years. So this is just one of the most recent article or blog that I posted, but it's just something that I share for my personal and professional career, and you will find all of our YouTube channel or our social media handles will be there. So pretty much anursedad.com, it has originated to share my personal experience as a Filipino migrating to Guam and now migrating to California, in particularly here in Sacramento. So they can follow me in our all of our social media. We are in YouTube, the Guayco channel, and we share our personal adventures of our family.
All right. Wow. So if we were to contact you, what's an ideal person that you're looking to contact you? Are you looking more are you guys doing more like barbecue, support group, lobbying for better wages? Or are you a little bit more like trying to help people come over here and join the profession, or is it all of that?
So yes, so exactly all of the above, all of what you said, but we are of course trying to reach out to Filipino families or Filipinos that are interested to come here, or those who are already here in the States and thinking about coming to Sacramento or coming here in California, we have YouTube videos, and I am very passionate about helping emergency nurses to be able to navigate the healthcare system. Also, through the Emergency Nurses Association, which I am also part of as a Sacramento chapter president. And so I have my blog, which is a nursedad.com. We are at YouTube, the Guayco channel, and of course, we're at Instagram and Facebook.
Mark, it's been a pleasure having you today. I really appreciate you being so generous with your time. And I appreciate the fact that you're out there reaching out, trying to help people in the Sacramento community. And it's great to know that if anyone's thinking about trying to join the Sacramento community, anyone from anywhere in the world, it sounds like, but Philippines especially, that they've got a friend here in Sacramento waiting to get to know them in you. Is that fair to say, Mark?
Definitely. Thank you so much for putting that together. And I wish you well. Good luck. And for all your viewers and listeners, reach out. My name is Mark Guayco. That's Guayco for if you want to find me in YouTube.
Thanks so much, Mark. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Bye.
Bye.